You know, it sometimes comes down to a point. So many people don't want to think about planning a funeral, but it really doesn't have to be a difficult process.
That's right. In fact, pre-planning can give you peace of mind. Really, now is the time to prepare to celebrate and honor a life. And joining us today to talk about that is John Holloway, president of Holloway Funeral Home, and Kathleen Morton, pre-need advisor. Thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you for having us.
Well, so the big question is, pre-planning is the topic. Why?
Well, first off, you know, one of the things that we look at when someone dies is we can't decide not to grieve for someone. So funerals are really for those who are left behind, and therefore we can take some of the burden off our families by making some of the decisions that we would want to have done when we pass away, so that they don't have to worry about that. They can concentrate on grieving and working through that period of time without having to make a lot of decisions. Plus, it could take a lot of financial burden off of folks if they pre-fund something ahead of time, which they can or don't have to do, but
right.
we can talk about that. But it really takes a big burden off of the family on a subject they really don't want to talk about it anyway.
Yeah.
Now, Kathleen, what does pre-planning entail?
Basically, you make an appointment to meet with a licensed funeral director that may or may not be certified in advanced planning. You go through and you make as many or as few selections as you want. You would go through and discuss whether, of course, you want traditional burial or cremation, and then we would go through and select the different types of merchandise that would go along with those services. Some people go as far as picking verses and songs and other things that they have specifically that they know they want for their service. Then, of course, you're not entitled to, but we always give you the different options on pre-funding your service and the different advantages on that. And of course, if you do decide to pre-fund your service, then, or your advanced plans, then we always put 100% of that money in trust, so that it is protected and the funeral home doesn't keep the money and we only get it at the time of death.
All right.
Well, we just showed you the Pocomoke location. We got another shot of the Salisbury Holloway Funeral Home.
Now we hear, and you were talking about picking out your casket and everything. We have heard that the caskets through funeral homes are much more expensive than, say, through a cemetery.
Well, that's not true at all. Let me just state that right up front. There are other options out there where you can buy caskets, cemeteries. Some people even heard of Costco's and Sam's Clubs and so forth, where you can purchase caskets. But our message here today is that you really need to check with your licensed funeral director about what your options are, so that you can look at all your options and then make an informed decision. So many times people who come to try to sell you things, cemeterians and so forth, get you to make a decision right then and there. And you really need to take a step back and kind of find out what your options are. You know, maybe talk to your funeral director, see what they have available. And then if you decide to buy from someplace else, that's all well and fine, but at least then you're making an educated decision versus a spontaneous emotional decision with someone sitting in your living room.
So you can do it with a clear head.
That's right. And that's part of the pre-arrangement advantages, is that you do have that time in order to do it, versus when someone is already deceased and you feel like you only have a couple days to make these big decisions.
Right. Well, so if we were to sum up, and we're going to try to sum everything up that you've just said very quickly, here's some things to remember about the benefits of pre-planning, why this is a good idea. Let's show you these real quick. First off, as John pointed out, your wishes can be carried out, what you want to make, the decision that you want to make beforehand.
That's right. And secondly, it relieves your family of burden, so they don't have to sit there and say, well, would she or he wanted it that way or not? You make the decision.
And of course, when everybody's emotional over the situation, you can overspend.
Right. And technology plays a big role in funerals nowadays. I know that many people have turned to the web for obituaries. In fact, you can go to delmarvalife.com and you can see some of the obituaries there. But also in the way that people can view a funeral. Tell us about that.
Well, at Holloway Funeral Home, we have the capability of doing webcasts of services and funerals, which has become very popular. And with the economy the way it is, and travel being expensive and so forth, sometimes people who live out of town or across the country can't always afford to come to Salisbury for a loved one's funeral. So they have the ability to log on. We send them an email so they can log on and actually watch the service live as it goes on in our funeral home. Now, if we're out in a church, then we record it, bring it back, and upload it so that they can watch it later. This is a service that we offer, and it saves the family money because they don't have to buy a plane ticket or overnight accommodations when they get here, those types of things. So it becomes very helpful. Or even people at work who can't get off work can maybe log into their computer and watch it, and not have to leave work as well.
And attend without being there.
Right.
In person.
And they can also go to our website and sign the guest book and so forth, so that the family gets notification that they have done that.
All right, and if you would like some more information on how to contact Holloway Funeral Home and for more on what the company offers, go to delmarvalife.com and click on the show tab.
Still to come on Delmarva Life, the power of power washing. Take a look at the difference.
Next, the team at A&J Power Washing in Salisbury demonstrates what it can do for you. Delmarva Life, life at its best, here on Delmarva.